Welcome back to my other job. I'm busy repairing the airlines for the air suspension on this Rover. It's been a while. I have a new air dryer that I picked up at a salvage yard several months ago. And with that I got some portions of the nylon pipe that connects between the air dryer and the compressor and the bottom of the air dryer and the valve block over here. Now I've already eliminated 3 air leaks on the side that goes into the air dryer. Now I'm going to see if I can get the one on the bottom of the air dryer. Now if I can't get this one to work, I do have a piece of nylon tubing that came with the new used air dryer. Of course, this is going to be a pain in the neck, so I may have to take everything apart, which is what I'm going to do. I've looked at the end of the plastic nylon airline, and I'd had to cut it off because the end was just too chewed up. This one's a bit better. Hopefully it's going to be good enough because these parts are no longer available. What I'm doing right now is cleaning this off with some isopropyl alcohol. It's really important to have no grime, dirt, grit, anything that could actually impact the seal when you use the connector. This is a 150 psi system, so it gets some significant pressure in it. I use isopropyl alcohol for a lot of uses on the homestead. Cleaning things like this is just one of them. I also use it to clean our Harvest Right freeze dryer. The nice thing about isopropyl alcohol is that when it dries, evaporates, you don't have any stuff left behind. There's no fragrance, there's no oil. It just goes to a nice pristine state for whatever you're cleaning. And I want to make sure that this piece of air pipe is really clean. And when I spliced in this other piece of nylon air pipe earlier today, I cleaned all the surfaces like I'm doing right now. But the other thing I had to do is I had to chamfer the nylon tube so that it actually go in past the O-ring that's inside the connector. Well, let's see how far back I can go. That's the one for the top. That was fine. I think I'm going to cut this one back further this time. Can't really see it here. It's hard for me to see it here because of the sun. With the right amount of shade, the sun isn't too bad. And again, I'm just cleaning this nylon pipe off. It is a molded piece, so there's bends in it that don't come out. That looks good. I'm going to use my tubing cutters to cut that tube. Now these are not the perfect tubing cutters for doing this kind of work because you really don't have enough of a surface to keep the pipe on while you're cutting it. Again, this is nylon pipe, or nylon tubing if you want to consider it that. Now the trick is to get a nice clean square cut. And that's tricky. Let's look at that end. That is not a square cut. It has an angle, which is what I was talking about. I need to make sure that's a square cut, because otherwise it won't seal. I have a pipe cutter in the house. It's Irene's small one that she uses for some of her jewelry work. I'm going to go borrow that and cut that pipe so I have a square end. I'll be back. I have Irene's tubing cutter. It will cut between 1/8 and 5/8 inch tubing. It's just like a pipe cutter that you'd use in plumbing, but it works on smaller stuff. This is going to be difficult to get to because there's stuff in the way, but still have to do it. I still have to support the nylon tube the entire time that I'm cutting it. Because this tubing cutter has some rollers, it usually will make the cut square. I actually use this to square up the other two ends that I used for the top of this air dryer. I'm going in small steps because I want the cut to be smooth. Now I'm going to have to bevel the edge anyway, but I do want the cut itself to be smooth. You can feel as the cutting blade goes into the material, it will eventually start loosening up. So I go around once or twice per tightening and turn until it loosens again. It's always interesting to be trying to do non-standard retrofit work in an older vehicle. Again, there are no replacement parts for some of the Rover internals. These nylon pipes being one of them. Fortunately, I was able to get some parts out of a salvage yard down in Phoenix several months ago. It's time and money going down to do that job, but it's what you have to do if you want to have some parts sometimes. Let's see if this comes off now. I'm just opening the cutter up so I can pull it off because it did not go all the way through. But I should be able to use this as a guide to cut the tube straight. Let's see if I can do that. If not, I'll be cutting it back again. It's really, really critical that this cut be straight. Yeah, this would actually be a very simple repair if there were replacement parts available from Rover, but they aren't. Let's feel the end of that tube. I'll have to sand it a bit because there's some little nubs on the end. Well, now I get to cut my donor piece right here. And I'll cut a little bit long. You know, I'll just use the tubing cutter again. That worked really well. There we go. Now I have the approximate size that is the length set here. This should go a lot easier than the piece that was in the engine compartment because it's out here where I can readjust everything. Now before I start cutting, I'm going to measure again. That's about the right length. So now I will start using the tubing cutter the way it's intended to be used. And if I've messed up this cut, I have a little bit of room to do another cut to square the face. But I think I'm going to be fine. Again, I'm going slow with tightening the cutter because I want the cut to be smooth across the face. The one that's inside the engine compartment, I'm going to have to do some filing on or sanding on to smooth off some bumps. I don't like that because that's another potential source for leaks. And the reason why I have to do this is because the old air dryer was defective. The housing had developed a leak where the tubing goes in, where the pipe goes in, that could not be sealed. I replaced the ferrules, and that did not help. This stuff is slow going. The face is pretty good. I'm going to sand a little bit right there. I'll knock off the edges by running sandpaper around here once or twice. That's all. I want to just break the edge of the tube. Do the same thing inside the engine compartment. I'll put the new fitting in and I should be ready to go. Now I have the connector to connect this piece of air pipe segment to the other piece that I just cut off. First I'm going to put some food safe grease on the O-rings in this connector. Even though it's a brand new connector, I mean right out of the bag connector, sometimes the O-rings can get dry, even just sitting in the package. So I want to make sure that I can make the entire coupler work the way it's supposed to. Just put a little bit on this part of the pipe right there. Time to start putting it all back together. There, that went all the way in. That's what I wanted to hear. This is a bit of a pain in the neck because normally you just replace that entire piece. That'd be a lot easier, a lot faster, a lot fewer connections. That's connected. Now for one more. It is a little bit of a nuisance to be doing all this work inside the engine compartment that shouldn't have to happen, but that's what happens when parts are no longer available. You know, the nice thing is if you have an older car, a lot of times there's not a lot that can go wrong with it. But when it does go wrong, it may be difficult to find parts. There, that just went in as well. Whew, boy, that's some work. Now all I need to do is bolt this back up, put the top air pipe in, and try it out. I may not do it. It's getting a little late, a little cool. I could do it, I suppose. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up. Just make sure it goes in enough to where the air dryer doesn't fly around inside the engine compartment, because I need to make sure that the new connections actually hold air. That's the whole point here, is I just need to get air going to the airbags that set the ride height in this vehicle. It's a really nice system when it works. When something goes wrong, it's a pain in the neck. But that's true for a lot of more advanced systems. Now this is a 20-year-old, more than 20-year-old Range Rover. It has a lot of features that are now being made more common on high-end vehicles. And yes, this was a high-end vehicle when it was made. Well, let me get a few things picked up, and we'll go start it and see if I've got leaks. Probably do, but I hope not. I do have a battery charger running because this vehicle doesn't run much. In fact, one of the things I think I got accomplished is I had a sticking lifter in this engine, so it's making a noise. I think that's taken care of, but I have a little more diagnosing to do on that. And by the way, I have a idiot light on the dashboard that says I have an oil pressure issue. I don't think I do, because I'd expect to hear clattering, but I don't hear that. Let's see what happens now. Well, time to go inside the truck and see if it works. What should happen is, with the doors all closed, I should be able to get the car to start coming up off its stops. I'll let you know later. In any case, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, because we've got a lot more stuff going on. We're getting ready to do a casting session tonight, which means I don't sleep. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, don't forget to brainstorm. We do.